Thank you very much, His Excellency, Mr. John Agyekum Kufuor. Now, I know you've been involved in some media work for the past 5 years. I mean, a lot of people think after 60, people will, take it easy and retire. But, of course, the gentle giant has been busy and all that. But give us elements of that project that you've been involved in.
Thank you very much. And greetings to you all. In fact, I came to hear and to learn, because I've come to believe that the word literacy, like we used to know in the past, is obsolete now. If you are not into the digital age, no matter the education you had earlier, you should be considered illiterate. And so I came into entangling myself with the search to keep abreast with the unrushing world about 5 or 6 years ago in London. I met a gentleman, and he happens to be here in London. It was at a banquet right in the center of London. He walked to me. Till then, I hadn't talked to him before. Obviously, he was Ghanaian. But he walked straight to me and said he wanted to have a chat with me. So I said, well, just go ahead. And then he introduced a topic. He said he was working on this project he titled Africa Public Interest Media Initiative using digital technology. Of course, I was ignorant of the digital technology, but I got intrigued. I asked him, Africa Public Interest? Do you know Africa? He said, of course. I said, look, do you know the size of Africa and the complexity of Africa? With so many nations styling themselves as sovereign, about 54 or 55 of them, and all their governments guarding their sovereignty so jealously. So how could you talk of public interest for such a place? Africa being the second biggest continent on the planet. Well, the ensuing discussions dragged me deeper and deeper into seeing the importance and urgency of coming to terms with the topic, public interest media. I remembered, I'm a politician, and I remember that it was from here, our first president, the great Kwame Nkrumah, who launched, or was one of the people who launched the Pan-African course on the eve of our independence, going as far as to say that the independence of our country would be meaningless unless it was linked with the total liberation of Africa. And from there, and with some other leaders of our continent, they pushed on to form the Organization of African Unity, and some of them even propagating the urgency of forming a continental government. It was a bit idealistic, though, but they pushed it, and then Pan-Africanism really took root. It's over 60 years since they started talking these things, and every year they meet in conferences talking Pan-Africanism, union government, continental communications, and so forth and so on. What really convinced me that it was a topic to study seriously was the fact that with all their efforts and, I believe, sincerity, they didn't manage to get this crucial topic down from their height, the levels, to the grassroots of the people. And so when this gentleman broached the matter and then added the digital technologies and the force of digitalization as such, not even the most powerful governments anywhere can really block the impact of digitalization on the grassroots of people. So it occurred to me that if truly there would be very professional and very serious, committed media people who would try to come to grips with the challenge of making Africa know itself from the grassroots, meaning if they would succeed in making Africa borderless using the technologies and professions of media and digitalization as the technology, then the peoples of Africa would come to know themselves and would also get awakened with the knowledge that would come on the backs of such media operations as to enable them hold their various governments to account and come from their Olympian heights down to grassroots. And governments that would not meet the demands of the public so awakened would be at peril. So for 5-6 years, he dragged me. Fortunately, he's such a good writer, and at every turn, he would summarize and bring me something. So it's been a great school for me. Sometimes I see him and I want to run away from him because I'm a retiree, and I thought, why I've gotten to now, but this guy has pushed me till even as I speak with you. And it was through him I got to know this conference was coming on. And I hear broadcasting at Crossroads. I tend to feel that perhaps this topic should not be localized. You should talk continental. Because, look, we talk of Al Jazeera. I don't know if you've been to Qatar. It's just a spot of a country, very tiny. Of course, it has money. So it makes all the difference. But look at the reach of Al Jazeera. It's so global now. And then look at CNN, very private. But the reach, of course, is also coming from a highly developed technological country like United States. Poor Africa, so far, has tended to be defined from outside. We are seeking our identity. For instance, now we are forming things like AFTA, continental free trade and all that. But it tends to be just talk. But the trading among ourselves on the continent, the percentage of trade among ourselves is meager. But then digitalization and mobile technology, they are invading us. You go to any village, every village, we see all these things. We talk platforms. How many of the platforms are managed and driven by us? We still are logged into the blinkers of colonialism. We are Anglophone. My cousin in Cote d'Ivoire is Francophone. The next person is Lusophone. We do not know ourselves. You stop a person in the streets of Accra, you want to discuss something, say in Nigeria, you'd be lucky if this person would know anything. But similarly, a Nigerian may not even care to know about us. But if the professional media people would find a way to establish a powerful media agency, I've cited Al Jazeera, say here in Accra, very African, to tell African stories, not just political. It could be economic, it could be social, it could be entertainment, it could be trade, it could be industry. And they are using digitalization. I tell you, before you know, the African in Nigeria or in Nairobi or in South Africa or North Africa, and even as we speak, our brothers in North Africa you would need some convincing to get them to believe they're Africans, like us. So we talk Africa, Pan-Africanism, and yet it's like pies in the sky. So we need to get this thing down. And Ghana, it seems, as the Creator made us, not too big, but somehow we've always been like a vanguard place. If you're talking media, I'm happy you talked about the repeal of the criminal libel law, which has empowered the media of Ghana so well. We want to talk of media independence. We've got very bright people. The only thing is the economy hasn't supported them to be too independent. And we talk government media houses. Ghana Broadcasting, I don't say it's muscle. Graphic Times, if we leave them to themselves, I tell you, they will die tomorrow. But the personnel, they are there. They are professional. I came a bit late, but the presentation I had, it's so educative. Within 5-10 minutes, so this is. But then you talk, and you remain very local. You'd be lucky even to go outside Accra. You won't cover the whole of Ghana. Right. So the time has come when you are doing such a conference. Please, let's think big. And it can be done. Our brothers in Nigeria, I don't know about their media approach to transforming, but if you talk in business, it's taking just one man like Dangote. Now apparently he's even exporting refined oil to the United States. Could you imagine it? You can't talk 20 richest people on the face of earth without talking about him. Talk a Glow. I heard the presenter say cable system is so expensive, but it took one man, Adenuga of Nigeria, to do it. They think. I believe Ghana, with all our education and that sort of thing, we should be able to think big. Policy. These days, I believe the policy of not just choice, but of the imperative policy should be public-private partnership. Government, and I'm happy Sam is here, please. China has become what it has become because of the realization that policy, public sector, must be the infrastructure to unleash the force of private sector. So, policy should be shaped to enable these highly professional media people, and I'm sure there are people who are also business sense among them, to reach out, to become the hub on the continent, to bring the whole idea of Pan-Africanism down to the grassroots. So Ghana would contribute to shaping Africa to know itself. Because when Africa gets to know itself, I tell you, within a decade or two, with a rapidly increasing population, and we are told about 60% of our fast-growing population is youth, the people from 18 to about 35. Yeah. And they tend to be very highly educated these days. Unfortunately, it's like they are trained to be idle. But their job prospects are... If we would use these technologies to empower the people, fast-growing population, with all the natural resources here that we tend to only exploit to send out raw and to be given a pittance, if we do this, and I want to tell you, I have come to believe the fastest instrument to educate and awaken people is perhaps the media. Right. The fastest. The normal school is there, right? But it takes donkey ages to get a degree, doctorate, and so forth. Whereas with the media on the backs of digitalization, you can do it. Right. Go to any village around our country now, the most illiterate in the sense of not, They all use mobiles, and they know how to use the mobile to even transfer money. So they would learn, and they would become so well informed as to be able to hold their government to account. It would make for good governance, accountable governance, and also generally make responsible citizenship. And so when he told me you were doing this, I thought I should come and let you know that 5 years we've been talking. We've been talking with governments within the 5 years. Some governments, we've talked with the main banks on the continent, like African Development Bank, the African Bank. We've been trying to let them see the urgency of this. Because if Africa does not awaken itself to the digital age, and also with the AI, what is it? What is the AI? Artificial
intelligence.
If we do not do it, and the way the other continents are rushing around, we are not careful, we'll find ourselves back in perhaps worse colonialism than happened earlier times.
Well, what has been the response of these governments you've engaged, and then the banks?
I think it's bureaucracy. They hear the thing, and say, oh, this sounds good. Oh, we'll think about it. And then they leave it somewhere. The reactions are too slow. And I feel bothered. I feel really bothered. Because now, but like my grandson, a young man who's not even 30, did engineering, and now he visits me from Britain, and I say, you are an engineer, why don't you go to some factory? He said, no, he's an expert in data. So he's a consultant by himself, making money. So the other time he came, I said, look, if you are a businessman, sort of dealing in data, and you've made money, then pay me back all the help I gave your dad and you. He smiles at me and said, all right, next time I get a contract, I'll bring it to you. So we work together, knowing that I can't do anything. So the government and the authorities, they all write fine things to us, but it's taking too much time. Right. So this is part of the reason I said I should come and let you know that it's so urgent. We talk China. China has become what it has become all within the past 40 years. Before it was crawling, it was third world country. But because the government there saw the necessity to use the concept of public-private, now it's perhaps the richest country in the world. Have moved almost 1 billion people from raw poverty into middle income. And Africa can do it.
But His Excellency, a problem that we are dealing with is funding. You know, the likes of, let's say, Al Jazeera. We know Qatar is behind Al Jazeera. You spoke about CNN and the great people behind it. Africa, how do we do it?
I've talked of Dangote. Dangote is African. Adenuga is African. I'm sure even in Ghana here, we've got some individuals who, with the right frame policy, you'd be surprised. And the youngsters coming up, I've told you of my grandson. I think he's about 28 now. He may be richer than me as I sit here, even though he's not opening up to me. So, but what I believe is, when you talk money, money really is in the head. In the head. You talk of innovativeness. You talk of creativity. We've heard of the Elon Musk, the name? Elon Musk. And then the other was Zuckerberg, and they're all youngsters. And it's not as if it was their parents dumping billions for them. The creativity is, and it can be done. The talents are here. Only the policy should be to acknowledge what is happening around the world, and then opening up so legitimate talent would get some oxygen to show what it can be done.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
His Excellency, former President of the Republic, John Agyekum Kufuor, sharing his thoughts. Thank you very much. Yes, please. Thank you. Let's give him a round of applause.